Hare Krishna, everyone. We dedicate this presentation to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Shrato Pangor Mama Manda Matirgati Mat Sarvasva Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyat Vrindaranyo Kalpa Drumadaha Srimat Ratna Gado Simhasanosto Sriman Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prashtalibihi Sevyamano Smarami Sriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsivatastatastitaha Karshan Venur Saner Gopir Gopinataha Shriyastanaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripe Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Dharma Projito Kaitavo Atra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam वेदमस्तवम् अत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापोत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परे ईश्वरः साध्योऽवरुध्यते अत्र त्रिभिः सुस्तक्षणः. This Bhagavata Purana is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion, from the welfare of all such uproots. Of all such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Ekamakalpatarodanitam phalam sukham kakam vritadravyasamhitam vibhata bhagavatam rasmalayam rasika bhuvibhavaha नस्तप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God, and it is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Uttama Sloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi Nishriya Saya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasti Ayanam Mahat. Tvayi me ananda vishaya Tvayi me ananda vishaya matir madhupate asraya Tvayi me ananda vishaya matir madhupati sorry. Tvayi me ananda vishaya matir madhupati asraya. Tvayi me ananda vishaya matir madhupatim. O Madhupate, as the Ganga forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my ratim or attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Tvayi me ananda, Tvayi me ananda, Tvayi me ananda. Oh, can't remember it today. Never mind. So this chapter, chapter 3, pure devotional service, the change in heart. Tvayi me ananda, Tvayi me ananda. Madhupati asaki. Ratim udvatahat ada gange vaugyam udanvatihi. Yes, that's the verse. So this is chapter 3. We are starting a new chapter. Pure devotional service, the change in heart. So part 1, session 3. So before we go, let's recap a little what we have done in the first chapter and in the second chapter. So as you know, we are in Canto 2 now. So just to get the bigger picture, let us step back a little, move back, and then look at the bigger picture of what we covered in chapter 1. Very briefly, right? So in chapter 1, basically the topic was, it was beginning at the point where Parikshit Maharaj was ready and fasting for death. So Mriya Mananam, one at the threshold of death. So at this point, he was surrounded by all the sages of Naimisharanya, and they were there to accompany him. And at this time, Parikshit Maharaj put questions to them. All right, what is the topmost duty of one who is about to die, who is in his situation now? And to answer that, at that moment, Sukadev Goswami walks into the assembly. And he puts the same questions to Sukadev Goswami as well. And so basically, chapter 1 begins with Sukadev Goswami answering Parikshit Maharaj. So he answers by first of all saying what one should not do, and then what one should do. Because the question asked Parikshit Maharaj is, no, what should one chant, what should one hear, what should one worship, what should one remember, and what are the activities one should do at the time of death, right? Or one who's about to die. So that again, that represents all of us, right? So to answer this, Sukadev Goswami begins by stating what one shouldn't do. So he states, just like how one should not be a Grihamedi. So we mentioned this several times already. So Grihamedi is again one who only spends his time working throughout the day and sleeping and having sense gratification throughout the night. And he does not have time for hearing and chanting, so or spiritual activities. So that is a Grahamedi. So such a person one should not be. One should attentively dedicate some time for spiritual activities. So we heard about this in some detail. And the culmination of this answer of one should do is basically one should, what's the best way to hear and chant? One should take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer. Parikshit Maharaj was told by Sukadev Goswami. The answer here is in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, the incarnation of the Supreme Lord itself, who came as soon as Kali Yuga came into the picture. So when the Lord left, just like when the sun sets, so again the sun will rise again. So that will be in the form of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and then Srimad Bhagavatam will lead to Hari Namanu Kirtanam. So by studying and relishing Srimad Bhagavatam, what will happen? What will happen is one will lose taste for material things. All the anarthas, the dirty things in the heart will fall away, and one will develop taste to continuously do this activity. This activity is what activity? Hari Nama Nukirtanam. Nama, Hari Nam Anukirtanam. So to hear and to chant the holy names of the Lord, this is what it will lead to. So that's the benefit of Srimad Bhagavatam. It brings us to a very high level of relishing the chanting of the holy names and to hear the holy names. which is the main activity, right? And this Srimad Bhagavatam attracts even the liberated souls. So it attracts souls from all levels. Anybody it can attract, even those who are liberated. So indicating that even higher than liberation is the position of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So that is the idea. And now, and then Sutta Goswami begins by, in chapter 1 is discussed, is the title of chapter 1 is the first step in God realization. So rather than plunge in directly into the heart of the matter, which is pure devotional service, he goes step by step. He talks the first level of God realization. So he understands Sutta Goswami, because when Sukadev Goswami, when he is speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam, he is meaning this for everybody. So he understands that there are some people who are not at the level of, they are in the different levels of spiritual realization. So he begins with the lowest level of spiritual realization. So he talks about those who want to focus on the impersonal meditation. So for the impersonal meditating people, he presents first of all the Virat Rupa Dharana. So this is the first step towards bhakti. So for those who are impersonalists and they cannot accept Bhagavan, right? So for them, how to help them? So therefore, the impersonal path of Dhyana Yoga is given. But Dhyana Yoga can only bring them so far. It cannot give them the fruit of Dhyana Yoga, which is what they are looking for, which is liberation, without some contact with Bhakti. So that was the main theme of chapter 1. So we understood that Bhakti is necessary even in these other processes as well. Some tinge of Bhakti has to be there. Some kind of acceptance of a personal God. So Virat Rupa is the first step, because it will make them meditate. So Virat Rupa Dharana is to imagine that the universe is actually a part of a supreme being. So we heard about how the different levels of the universe, right? The lower planetary systems, the upper planetary systems, these are all can be imagined as different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, at least in some abstract way, they are connecting the mundane, which is the universe, to the Supreme Lord in the form, right? So therefore, some tinge of bhakti is there. The moment there is personal form of the Lord, there is already some tinge of bhakti. So that's the first level, Virat Rupa Dharana. So as I said, there are people, different types of people in this world. We know there are atheists. So what are atheists? So this is just a recap of what we have covered before. So atheists they think that the universe is existing and there is no God. So this is called atheism, right? So how to gradually bring the people from atheism to a higher level, to the highest level of theism. So step by step, ladder by ladder, right? So from atheism, then comes the concept of pantheism. So evolution of consciousness of the person. From atheism, they can come to understand that there is God, there is a creator, because the universe cannot exist by itself, right? Somebody create. We don't have any experience in our life where something just exists by itself. If you think about it logically, in all our lives, everything that we have come across has been created by something or someone, right? So therefore, the universe itself must be also created by someone. So therefore, that is the first level of pantheism, where they accept there is a creator, but they are not ready yet to accept a personal form of the Lord. They think, okay, I don't want to go so far. I don't want to think about all that, right? I will just accept that there is God, and God is everywhere. He is the universe. So conveniently, they will think that God is the universe. So that is called pantheism. But that is still very basic level of understanding, right? So when they go further, when they evolve further, then they come to the concept of panentheism. They will understand that God is greater than the universe, because if somebody wants to create the universe, he must be greater than the universe, right? So that means he must be beyond the universe. So universe is part of God, but it's just a small part, right? It is basically we understand it as the material energy of the Lord. It is not part of God directly. It is indirectly part of God. So that is the beginning of panentheism. So when the consciousness of the person comes to that level, that is a higher understanding of spiritual life. But eventually panentheism, yes, God, universe is part of God, right? But finally we come to the concept of theism. So that's when it goes to chapter 2. So the chapter 2 now bridging all this Virat Rupa understanding with the theistic philosophy of the Lord. How do we bridge from Virat Rupa to the personal form of the Lord? This is theism, the personal form of the Lord, that the Lord has a form, he is distinct and separate from his material creation, but the material creation exists because of him, because he's the one who created it. Everything originates from him, but at the same time, it is separate. Just like us, right? When we have children, our children come from us, but the child is separate from us, nevertheless. But still, everything, if not for us, the child would not be there, correct? So, same in that kind of a similar understanding, we can understand theism. So, this is the highest level of understanding the supreme, the absolute truth. So, to bring the sadhaka, the jiva who is entrapped in this kind of consciousness slowly towards theism, there must be bridges. So from Virat Rupa, which creates the first stage of bhakti, just a hint of bhakti, and then to come straight to theism, they need a intermediary. So the intermediary is chapter 2, the Lord in the heart. So from Virat Rupa, Virat Rupa is also Brahman understanding, realization of the Supreme. So they come to the Lord in the heart. Lord in the heart is Paramatma. So they come to the understanding that Paramatma is everywhere. So Paramatma is localized form of God. Yes, everywhere is God. Material everywhere, the universe is God, everywhere is God. There is divinity in everywhere, in everyone. But how is the divinity there? How is the divinity present in everyone, in everything? So the divinity is present in everyone, in everything. So we can understand also in material life also, right? In material nature, we understand that matter, the smallest constituent of matter is made up of atom, correct? So what is the smallest constituents of divinity? So if matter consists of atom, then divinity also must consist of divine atoms. So what is this divine atom? This divine atom is Paramatma. So Paramatma is the localized feature. Inside the atom, there is Paramatma. And Paramatma is everywhere. There is matter and there is antimatter, correct? So in emptiness, in space also there's Paramatma. In substance also there's Paramatma. So that is the understanding of Paramatma. So the Lord in the heart. So chapter 2 bridges that gap so that the jiva can slowly understand level by level. So as I said, Bhakti, Virat Rupa is the first stage where Bhakti is introduced in a very, very basic manner, right? Just to give the basic understanding that there is a supreme creator, a being. So you can imagine him that he has his feet in the Patala planets, his stomach in the Bhuloka, his head is in the upper planetary systems, like that. So Bhakti Mishra. Mishra means friend. So Bhakti is a friend introduced uh, into this feature. So what is this Virat Rupa Dharana? Virat Rupa Dharana is basically meditation, right? So meditation is basically, if you want to meditate, what is the goal of meditation? One has to reject material things because that is the nature of meditation. Because it's a different path altogether. It is called Nivriti Marga, remember? So that means one has to reject karma kanda. I don't want fruitive activities. I'm not interested merely in wealth, in artha kama, right? I'm not interested simply in getting wealth, in getting power, in getting position, in getting sustenance. So none of this in getting beauty, in getting fame. We don't want the Sat Aishwaryas. So then what is it we want? We want to attain peace, right? Peace, Santim. So how do we attain peace? When we break out of the cycle of the birth and death. When the cycle of birth and death is broken, the cycle of samsara, then we get peace. So Swarga, attaining heavenly planet, is not the solution, because even the people in Swarga Loka are not peaceful, right? They are constantly disturbed by the demons and so forth, and even they will eventually die, and they will also go through the cycle of samsara. So rejection of Swarga, that is described in chapter 2, right? How we don't want this karma kanda fruitive activities. So instead, what we want, we take the path of the Nivriti Marga. We reject sense gratification and we move towards sense, we move towards sense control. So Nivriti, we reject it, right? So, and in Nivriti Marga, the path of sense control or the sense restraint path, in Nivriti Marga, there are two paths. Remember, I've mentioned it many times. There is the Jnana path and there is the Bhakti path, right? But we are not talking yet about Bhakti yet. Bhakti will come later. So step by step. Before Bhakti, we want to talk about the Jnana path. So in the Jnana path is the Jnana ladder. We start with Karma Yoga, then Jnana Yoga, then Dhyana Yoga. So this description in chapter 2 is beginning from Dhyana Yoga. So from Dhyana Yoga, in Dhyana Yoga, there are two ways to attain, to move towards Dhyana Yoga. So the yogi who is still having material attachment, even after practicing Dhyana Yoga seriously, but if he is having material attachments still, but yet he is serious in attaining peace, he wants to attain Brahman, he wants to attain the Supreme, but he still has material attachment in his heart. So what should the dhyani do? So the dhyani should meditate on the Virat Rupa, because that is the first stage. So by meditating on the Virat Rupa, gradually he can lose taste for the material things. And if he is lucky, if he loses taste for the material things by meditating on the Virat Rupa, then he can move to the higher stage of meditation, which is Paramatma Dharana, concentration on the Paramatma. So from Virat Rupa, he can graduate towards Paramatma. And at this stage, he is not meditating on a imaginary form of the universal form. He is now meditating on the actual form of the Paramatma within his heart. So that is Paramatma Dharana. So in chapter 2, there was very nice descriptions about the Paramatma, how the Paramatma is wearing yellow, golden dhoti, striking, brilliance like the lightning, how he's wearing earrings. So you can see how from Virat Rupa, which is simply an imaginary description of the body parts of the Lord, now you can see more description and further details about the Lord himself. He is wearing clothes. He's wearing this earring. He's wearing this, saffron, yellow color, brilliant cloth. He's wearing jewels. So all this we begin to see. So more towards personalism. So we can see the gradual evolution towards personalism. So further bhakti is introduced. So bhakti mishra, bhakti becomes stronger here. Right? So bhakti becomes stronger. uh, so So from Virat Rupa Dharana, he can graduate and he can come to Paramatma Dharana if he is fortunate. How he can come to Paramatma Dharana? If he follows the Virat Rupa meditation properly, and eventually the Lord will be shown within himself, because he's introduced bhakti. So therefore the Lord is obliged to reveal himself just a little, just to show the Paramatma. So then he continues in the Paramatma Dharana. And then what happens at that time? We've heard in chapter 2 how he concentrates his prana from the different chakras in the body, raises the energy level from the lower chakras to the higher chakra until he concentrates it into his forehead over there. and then closing all the gates in the body. In meditation, he exits the body, leaves the body through the Brahmarandra, which is the hole on the head, at the tip of the head. He breaks through from the Brahmarandra and he leaves the material world. He escapes from the material world, penetrating all the material nature, and goes to the spiritual Brahman. So, and from spiritual Brahman, he attains the spiritual Brahman, and now he's a Paramatma realized person. So, he's at that level. But we also heard what happens if the Virat Rupa meditating yogi cannot graduate towards Paramatma Dharana. What happens to him then? So if he still has material attachment still, he's not yet fully gone. Because he's following bhakti, the Lord still gives him a second chance. So this Paramatma meditation, he will attain mukti. But if he goes through Virat Rupa Dharana and he doesn't come here, the Lord gives him a second chance. He gives him a slower method, but still a method. He still gives him a lifeline. So this is called Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti is the slow or gradual liberation. So we heard about this in chapter 2 also. How the yogi, instead of leaving the body directly from his head and going to the spiritual atmosphere, what he does is he will travel upwards using the Sishumara Chakram. You know, there is in his body, there is something called the Sishumara channel. It's like a channel of energy where through the chakras, he is able to travel outer space. So he travels outer space. The first place he travels is to the fiery planet. The fiery planet of, is called the Vaishvanara Loka, where the Lord of Fire is situated, Agni. So there he gets purified. He loses his desires for material nature, he loses his material desires completely, right? But he's still not yet developed a higher level of devotion needed. So from the Vaishvanara Loka, he travels upwards further until he comes to the Sishumara Chakram. This is where the Dhruva planet is situated. In the Dhruva planet situated, he meets face to face the Supreme Lord within the material world, in the what do you call that planet, in Shvetadvip. In Shvetadvip is the island of milk, in the ocean of milk. Within the Dhruva Loka planetary system, there is Shvetadvip, and in Shvetadvip there is an island in the ocean of milk, and there Lord Narayana is reclining. So he can get the darshan of the Lord, and getting further darshan of the Lord, then he can travel upwards further. From Sishumara Chakra, he goes to Maharloka, then he goes to Jana Loka, then he goes to Tapa Loka. So level by level, he finally reaches Satya Loka, the planet of Brahma. And in the planet of Brahma, he remains with Brahma until the Brahma's lifetime is completed. And then together with Brahma, then he goes to the spiritual world. So therefore, he has to wait a very long time, trillions of years, because Brahma's lifetime. But still, there is a lifeline. So gradually, he gets to see the different levels of the universe and comes to Brahma Loka, remains there for some time, and then for a long time. And then only, this is called Krama Mukti, gradual liberation. This is what happens to the Virat Rupa Dhyani, the Dhyani who is concentrating on the universal form, who could not go to Paramatma level. So gradually he has to purify, evolve, come to Paramatma level understanding, right? Then only he can come towards theism. So now Sukadev Goswami is now going to go to the next stage. From Paramatma understanding, he is not going to go to the personal understanding of Bhagavan. So that's why chapter 2, from Lord in the heart, now we will come to chapter 3. So where bhakti is now discussed further. So we will talk about the other part of the Nivritti Marga. We've talked about the dhyana aspect. We've talked about the Virat Rupa dhyana, and we've talked about Paramatma dhyana. Now we are going to go towards the bhakti path, which is the other path in the Nivritti Marga. So in here, this bhakti is Ananya Bhakti, pure bhakti. So chapter 3 now, the title of chapter 3, pure devotional service, Ananya Bhakti. Pure means Ananya, that means not mixed. Pure devotional service and the change in heart from impersonalism and from materialism, from impersonalism to Paramatma, and then finally to Bhakti. So that's the gradual elevation. So, but we are very fortunate. We did not take we did not take the meditation path. We directly took the Bhakti path. So we have to follow sadhana bhakti first, and then from sadhana bhakti we can graduate towards bhakti in liberation. So that is the way for us, right? We don't have to do meditation. The process is the same, whether in sadhana bhakti or in bhava bhakti. The process is the same. We have to hear and chant. This is the basic aspect of it. So now Sukadev Goswami continues his narration to Parikshit Maharaj. Now he comes to the heart of the matter. All right. So Sri Sukha Uvacha, as you have inquired from me as to the duty of the Manisinam. Sri Sukha Uvacha. So Sri Sukadev Goswami is saying, as you have inquired from me as to the duty of the, he uses the word Manishinam. Manishina means the thoughtful, intelligent human being. So you have inquired from me as to the duty of the thoughtful, intelligent human being, right? So now he continues, who is on the threshold of death? Mriyamananam. So I have answered you. But he's not completed yet. He's not finished his story. So he's testing Parikshit Maharaj whether, and he's also testing everyone there, whether they want to know further or not. So the question will arise, but what about those who are not Manishinam, those who are not intelligent, those who are not thoughtful? So therefore, Sukadev Goswami is hinting what will be their destination, what will be their thoughts. At the time of death, what will they be thinking if they are not intelligent, if they are not thoughtful? So before we go there, Prabhupada makes a comment here. So in spite of reading and hearing such scriptures, Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., unless one is in touch with a realized spiritual master, he cannot actually realize the real nature of the self. So this is a nice point which Prabhupada puts in the first verse of this chapter. So it highlights the importance of Guru, right? So in any spiritual understanding, the Guru is mandatory, right? Sa eva gachit, Mundakya Upanishad says, right? Eva gachit. One must. The word is one must accept a Guru. So that will open the channel of blessings and the channel of knowledge for it to go through. So whether it is the jnana path or the bhakti path, one has to go through the mercy of the Guru. So that is that. So anyway, so now Sri Sukadev Goswami is saying, what about those who are not intelligent, right? You have asked me about the duty of the intelligent persons. So before I conclude my narration about the duty of the intelligent person, I've already hinted quite a lot. First, I've said, come to Brahman, Virat Rupa, and then Paramatma understanding. And then in chapter 2, Paramatma understanding also, I have hinted many times about the Srimad Bhagavad, about the Bhagavan understanding, the absolute personality of Godhead, about the duty. So this was already there in chapter 2. But let's take a diversion for a while and talk about what about those who are not intelligent, those who are not thoughtful. What will they be thinking at the time of death, or what should they be thinking at the time of death? So Sukadev Goswami says, one who is Brahma, Varchasa Kama, one who is desiring, one who is he's not yet a yogi, he's not very intelligent, he's not yet a yogi, right? He has not taken up the path of dhyana, but he is at least desiring of Brahman. Brahma Varchasa. Brahma Varchasa means he is desiring to merge into the effulgence of the Brahman. He wants to become peaceful, go into the Brahman, right? So kama means desiring. If he is desiring this, then he should at least worship Brahmana Patim. So what is Brahmana Patim? He should at least worship the Lord of the Brahmanas or the Lord of the Vedas. Here Brahmana here refers to Vedas. So the Lord of the Vedas, Patim means the Lord. And who is the Lord of the Vedas? So Brahma. So Lord Brahma. So this is Brahma, and because Brahma spoke the Vedas first, right? And sometimes it's also referred to as Brihaspati. Brihaspati is the spiritual master of the Devatas. So it could also refer to him when they say Brahmana Patim. So Prabhupada mentions both of them, right? And then Prabhupada gives a comment. Thoughts of becoming one with the Lord or being merged in the Brahma Jyoti can also be exhibitions of karma spirit. Karma means spirit of desire. So why is this considered material desire? So one who wants to merge in the Brahma Jyoti, it can also be material desire, because when the word karma is used, right, it usually denotes material desire. So, but it can be spiritual also, because one simply wants to have nothing to do with matter. He simply wants to merge in the spiritual essence of everything. So then it's spiritual. But if one wants to merge into the Brahma Jyoti simply because he wants to escape from material miseries, then that is material. It's not spiritual. It's called escapism. They are not attracted to the spirit. They are not attracted to the supreme. They simply want to escape their current situation, right? And it's an intelligent aspect, because at least they are not escaping into Swarga. They want to try to make a permanent solution of no more birth and death. So therefore, it is still called karma, because it is still material, right? So Prabhupada says, can also be exhibitions of karma spirit if they are desires for one's own satisfaction to be free from material miseries. So that is the aspect. So this is escapism in one form, right? The ultimate escapism. So the Buddhists have this kind of understanding. They have no attraction to the spirit. They have no because they deny spirit. The Buddhists, their understanding is there is no such thing as spirit. Spirit is illusion. So they say that matter is also illusion. They say matter is illusion, spirit is illusion. Let us just become nothing. So that is the concept of Buddhism, right? So there is no attraction, there is no positiveness. It's just what Prabhupada likes to use the word spiritual suicide. It's like a denial of ourselves, and it's like going to sleep. That's it. We don't want anything, going to sleep. But it's not a permanent solution. So those who take that kind of path, they merge into the Viraja river. And but again, because of nothingness, right, it's not the actual position of Atma. Atma, the nature of Atma or energy, because we are energy, right? We are part of the Lord. What is the nature of energy? Is energy inert? Energy is energetic, isn't it? There is energy, you have to contain. So there is always activity in energy. So they cannot remain inert for long. So again, they will fall back into material pool, because that's all they know. They don't know spiritual pool. They only know material pool. So again, from nothingness, they will come back to the material pool. So it's not a permanent solution. So that's why there is something higher than nothingness. There is the oneness. That is Brahman. That's Brahma Jyoti. This is how Shankaracharya defeated the Buddhists and established impersonalism throughout India. So that began the first stage, and then comes the higher stage. But here, Sukadev Goswami is talking about those who are less intelligent. Remember, he says those who are less intelligent. So even this Brahman aspect is less intelligent, because there is a higher level which is attaining Paramatma and attaining Bhagavan. So there is this nice verse in Bhagavad Gita, right? Kama stair hrita jnana prapadyante anya devataha tam tam niyamam astaya prakritya niyataha svaya. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. So this is what happens. So the Lord gives a path for these people also. Those who are stolen by material desires, their intelligence is stolen by material desires, they cannot take the Nivriti Marga, they cannot take the path of renunciation. So they take the path of sense gratification. But still to help them, right? Therefore, this kind of worship of the Devatas is given in the Vedas. So at least by worshipping the highest deity of the Devata, which is Brahma, they can have some hope that they can, in their next life, come in a better position for them to move towards Brahman realization. So in this way they can attain Brahma, because this verse over here says those who worship the Devatas, they attain the planets of the Devatas. So if you worship Brahma, you're going to attain Brahma Loka. And what happens to those who come to Brahma Loka? Right? Krama Mukti. Remember? From Krama Mukti. They take a long time, they remain with Brahma, they become purified with Brahma's association, and then together with Brahma, they will attain Mukti at the end of Brahma's lifetime. All right. So what about those who are even less intelligent? So then Sukadeva Goswami continues. One who is Indriya Kama. What is Indriya Kama? Indriya Kama means one who is attracted towards sense gratification, fully sense gratification, right? The Pravriti Marga. Therefore, in the Vedas, the path of the Pravriti Marga is given. Pravriti Marga means the path of sense gratification. They cannot take up to renunciation. So they have to take up this path of sense gratification. So if you are attracted to sense gratification, Prabhupada translates this as powerful sex, because that is the culmination of all sense gratifications, right? So there are different levels of sense gratification. So if one wants powerful sense gratification, then he should worship the heavenly king Indra. So that is why there are many sacrifices given in the Vedas, which is basically to propitiate the heavenly king, Indra. So, and one who is Prajakama. Prajakama means one who is desirous. Kama means desirous. One who is desirous of Praja. Praja means if his desire is, I want to have so many children or family members. So if one has this kind of desires, then they can worship, who they can worship? They should worship the great progenitors called the Prajapatis. So these are the sons of Brahma, right? The different sons of Brahma, beginning from Daksha, Marichi. So like that, there are different sons of Brahmas. So we can worship them. And those who worship them, they can, what will they get? They will be able to have a large family member. They can be the head of a dynasty, for example, like Manu and all that. And Sukadeva Goswami continues. So, and one who is Sri Kama. Sri Kama means if one is desiring opulence, all kinds of opulence, beauty, fortune, opulence, then one should worship Devin Mayam. So Devin Maya means the Devi of Maya, or in other words, Maya Devi, who is none other than Durga. So we have there's lots of Durga temples everywhere. So people are, attracted to this kind of things. So usually those worshippers who come to Durga, what do they ask for? They ask for this. They ask for Shri. That's what they generally want. One who is Teja Kama, who should they worship? They should worship fire. Teja means power. If one is desiring power, then they can worship fire, Agni, right? And one who aspires only after money, if they think money is the solution for everything, then they are recommended to worship Vasu. So they can worship the Vasus. Vasu Kama, desiring of Vasu can also mean money. It can also mean the demigods Vasus. So who are the demigods Vasus? There are 8 of them. The leader of the Vasus is called Dew or Akash. He is the one who came as Bhishma in the Mahabharata. He incarnated as Bhishma. He was cursed. He became Bhishma Dev because he got spiritual knowledge. Parashuram was his guru, and Brihaspati was also his guru. So he developed spiritual knowledge, and he became the great personality Bhishma, one of the Mahabhagavats, right? So anyway, so here, but if so, Bhishma, Dew, the original Devata, his name is Dew, the leader of the Vasus. Who are the other Vasus? The other Vasus are the various elements: fire, earth, water, air, ether, space, right? The sun and the moon. So Surya, Chandra, Vayu, Agni, Varuna. So Varuna for water, Vayu for air, Chandra for moon, Surya for sun, like that. And so like that, there are 8 Vashus. So, and one who worships them, then they can get money. One should worship Rudra incarnations of Lord Shiva if he is Virya Kama. If he is desirous of Virya, heroism, power and heroism, great power and heroism, then he can worship Rudra incarnations of Lord Shiva. So there are 11 Rudras. There are 11 Rudra incarnations of Lord Shiva. So then you can get this. So then Sukadev Goswami continues. One who is Annadaya Kamas. Annadaya Kamas means desiring of grains. So if he is in the Anna, remember we also discussed the different koshas, the different consciousness. So the base consciousness is the consciousness of food, right? Anna is called Annamaya Kosha. And then someone who is in a little higher consciousness, he is not so much thinking about food only all the time. He is in the mental level, thinking about mental things. So that is called Manomaya Kosha in a higher level. Then there is Jnana Kosha, Jnanamaya Kosha, thinking with knowledge at the level of knowledge. And then there is Vijnana Maya Kosha, the level of realized knowledge, which is Brahman. And then there is Anandamaya Kosha, liberation and beyond, bliss. So these are the different levels of consciousness in a jiva, which we discussed about in our previous sessions. In chapter 2, it was talked about. So anyway, if somebody is in the Annamaya Kosha, thinking about food all the time, right? So if he's desiring grains and food, then he should worship Aditi. So usually this is the deity of the Vaishyas, the farming community, right? Generally, like even if you go to Egypt, there is the demigod Osiris, right? So Osiris is like the goddess of the Nile and farming and cultivation. So therefore they worship that kind of the deity like that. So here, the demigod which is recommended for the worship of grains and food stuff is Aditi. Who is Aditi? Aditi is the mother of the demigods. Is the wife of Kashyapa. Kashyapa Muni's wife, Aditi. So Aditi gave birth to demigods. Kashyapa has another wife called Diti, and Diti gave birth to demons. So Aditi is the mother of the demigods. So one should worship the sun. And one who is Swarga Kama, if one is interested in Swarga, is desiring of Swarga Loka, if he wants to live in Swarga Loka, then he should worship the sons of Aditi. Because who's Aditi? The Aditi is the mother of the demigods. And the demigods like Indra, Vayu, Chandra, all of them, they are all living in Swarga Loka. So if we worship them, then according to Bhagavad Gita, verse chapter 7, right, which we discussed just now, those who worship the Devas, they go to the planets of the Devas. One who is Rajya Kama should worship Vishwadeva. So Rajya Kama means one who is hankering for kingdoms. So Vishwadeva is the lord of the Devas. So that is like Indra. So if you are interested in kingdom, then we can worship Vishwadeva. And one who wants to be popular with the general mass of population should worship the Sadhya demigod. So Sadhyas is a class of demigods. I'm not exactly sure what kind of demigods they are, but there are 33 million demigods, and there are different categories of them, like the Vasus. So Sadhyas is one category of demigods. So according to the Vedas, if you worship the Sadhya demigods, then one can become very popular. So usually politicians and their worship is towards this or towards Indra. And then Sukadev Goswami continues, one who is Ayu Kama, Ayu means longevity. So if he is desirous of longevity, long life, long healthy life, then one should worship the Ashwini Kumaras. Ashwini Kumaras are the twins. The twins, they are also a type of demigods, right? And they are considered the physicians or the Ayurvedic doctors of the demigods. So the demigods also have their doctors, and their doctor are called the Ashwini Kumaras. So they are very, very expert in healing all kinds of things. So they can even, they can do all kinds of surgery. They can, if somebody's head is cut off, they can join the head. So, like when Lord Ganesh, how there was an elephant and the boy's head was cut off. Parvati's son, the boy's head was cut off, and then they cut off the head of the elephant to join the head on the boy's body. So Ganesh was born. So how they conducted that operation? So it was due to the Ashwini Kumara's knowledge. So anyway, so like that, they have this kind of ability. So one who wants longevity and healthy life, so they can worship the Ashwini Kumaras. And a person who is Pushtikama, Pushtikama means he wants a strong body, a very powerful body, strong, right? Then he should worship the earth. So the earth is also known as Prithvi. Prithvi is earth, because the earth is solid. So one who worships, like like bodybuilders and this kind of people, they touch the earth and then they worship the earth. So they can become strong like the earth. And one who is Pratishta Kama should worship the horizon and the earth combined. Pratishta Kama means he wants stability and good fame and position. That means he wants a position or a post which is stable, not something which is impermanent. So if someone wants a stable position, whether in his job or in whichever, so he should worship the horizon and the earth combined. So there are demigods in charge of this also, right? And then Sukadev Goswami continues, one who is Rupa Abhikama, Rupa Abhi means beauty, one who is desiring beauty. So he should worship the beautiful residents of the Gandharva planet, he or she. So the Gandharva planet, so the Gandharvas are described, the Apsaras and the Gandharvas, they are very, very beautiful. So the Gandharvas are usually men and the Apsaras are women. So they're very, very beautiful, handsome, good looking, striking. So, they have all the charming qualities. So if one wants to be like that, then they can worship the Gandharva planets. They're expert they're expert musicians, singers, dancers. So these are the Gandharvas. One who is Trikama, if one is desiring of a good wife, a good wife, right? Then he should worship the Apsara Urvasi. Amongst the Apsaras are the female version of the Gandharvas. So amongst the Apsaras, the leader of the most beautiful of the Apsaras is Urvashi. So Urvashi is actually created, she was created not by Brahma, but she was created by Vishwamitra. So and there's a story behind that. And by Vishwamitra's power, he made Urvashi so strikingly beautiful that the other Apsaras pale in comparison compared to Urvashi. Anyway, she hates the Apsaras, right? And one who is Adipatya Kama. Adipatya Kama means desiring to dominate other people. They want to have control and dominion of others. Then they should worship the head of the universe, which is Parameshtitam. So this can be referred to as either Indra or also Brahma, because Brahma ultimately he is the owner of, he's the one, everybody kowtows to Brahma, right? So even Indra has to follow Brahma's instruction. So therefore, he is the person to worship if they want dominion over others, because he is the person who created the universe. So then Sukadev Goswami continues. One who is Yasha Kamaha. Yasha means he wants fame. Fame means this is not the same as popularity. This is tangible, long, everlasting fame or long-lasting fame. Then he can worship Vishnu, because nobody is more famous than Vishnu, right? So you see, in the Vedas, although the Vedas has lots of recommendations for demigod worship, because this is meant for those who are materially desirous. They desire material things. They cannot take to the path of bhakti yet. So there are some people who cannot. So for these people who are materially desirous, just to catch them, even the Lord Vishnu himself becomes one of the worshipable deities, even for the materialist. So this is the way the Lord even attracts the materialist through karma kanda. So their desire is fame. Their desire is not anything else. They only want fame. But by worshipping Lord Vishnu, they will eventually come to the path of bhakti. So the Lord tricks the materialist in this way. So if one is Vidya Kama, if one wants Vidya means desiring to be a great learned person or great knowledge, then he should worship Girisha. Girisha means the Lord of the mountain. The Lord of the mountain is Giri means mountain. Isha means the Lord, right? So Girisha is another name for Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva can also give us knowledge. And by knowledge, we can understand transcendental knowledge, right? So in this way, the Supreme Lord Vishnu and Mahadev, Lord Shiva, they trick the people into worshipping them so that they can be benefited. So eventually they can come towards the lotus feet of Vishnu in a pure motivation. And one who is Kosha Kama. Kosha means one who is desiring a good bank balance. They want a very strong bank balance. So someone who wants this, they should worship the Prachetasam, which is in other words, it translates to Varuna. In other places, it's also mentioned that one can worship Kubera. Kubera is the treasurer of the demigods. But Varuna is also described as one of the treasurers of the demigods, because Varuna, he holds in his kingdom all the treasures of the Devatas. Whenever the Devas get treasure, they will give it to Varuna. Important artifacts, like even the Sudarshan Chakra is sometimes kept it was originally kept by Varuna, and then Varuna gave it to Agni, and Agni gave it to Krishna. So and he also keeps many other equipments, many other artifacts within the vaults of Varuna. So if someone breaks into the vaults of Varuna, he can find many important, valuable, powerful artifacts. So, and it's described that his vault is impregnable, very difficult to penetrate. So if one wants something like that, he wants a bank balance, a vault full of treasures, then he can worship Varuna. And if one desires a good marital relation, if one wants a very nice, blissful marital relationship, then he or she should worship Uma. So if it's a lady, she should worship Lord Shiva. And if it's a man, he should worship Durga. So Uma is another word for Durga. So Uma Satim. Sati is also another name for Durga. Uma is also another name for Durga. So generally, those who want to get married, they worship like Durga and Shiva. That is those who are in the material thinking. And then Sukadev Goswami continues, one should worship Uttama Slokam or his devotee for spiritual advancement in knowledge. But if one is now, she's no longer talking about those who are not intelligent. Now he's talking about one who is intelligent. So if one wants to worship, one wants to get spiritual advancement, then he should worship Uttama Sloka. Who's Uttama Sloka? Uttama Sloka means that person which is the most glorified person in the Vedas. Uttama Sloka. The slokas are used to glorify that particular person the most. So who is that? That is none other than Lord Vishnu himself. So one should worship Lord Vishnu, who is known as Uttama Sloka, or his devotee, because Bhagavat here is non-different, right? Uttama Sloka is the Lord is known as Bhagavat, and Bhagavat is also the devotee of the Lord, right? So the Lord or his devotee for spiritual advancement in knowledge, Dharma Artha. So Prabhupada translates Dharma Artha as spiritual advancement in knowledge. Because Dharma, Artha, then Kama, then Moksha, correct? So liberation and higher knowledge. One who is Rakshakama. Rakshakama means when one is desiring protection. Raksha means protection. He's desiring protection. Protection specifically for his children or for his line, for his dynasty. That means for his children and the children's children, grandchildren and grandchildren. He wants his line to be protected and continue, right? So then he should worship the Pitras. Pitras are the ancestors. The ancestors, they live in a planet called Pitraloka, right? So there, that's why, we see this culture in many culture, which we see this worship in many cultures. Like we see this in the Chinese culture, they worship the forefathers. We see this in the Latin American culture, in Mexico and all these places, they worship the dead, right? So like that, this culture is there, coming from here. And one who is Ojas Kama, that means desiring of Ojas. Ojas means great strength. And Ojas can also mean progeny, because it is the semen of the man is also sometimes called Ojas. So, but Ojas also means the essence of the person. So the essence of the person is also translated as strength. So one who wants very strong Ojas or strength, he should worship the Maruts. So Maruts here refer to the wind gods. There are many wind gods. So Maruts are a type of devatas. So as I said, there are many classes of devatas. There is the Vasus, right? We heard about the Vasus. Now there is the Maruts. So Maruts are different types of wind gods. So and when we talk about strength, strength comes from wind, right? Bhima is the incarnation of wind god, right? Hanuman is also an incarnation of the wind god. So therefore, wind refers to strength. If we want good strength, then worshipping the wind or the god of the wind, this is recommended. And then Sukadev Goswami continues, one who is Raja Kama, that means he wants a kingdom. What is Raja? Raja means kingdom. If he wants a kingdom, then he can also worship the Manus. Earlier, they talked about how one can worship Indra, one can worship Brahma, and now one can worship also the Manu. Manu is the son of Brahma, right? And he is the originator of human beings. He is the first man, Manus. There are different Manus for different yugas, right? So in this way, we have the yuga cycle, I mean. So one Manvantara is several yuga cycles, and one Manu is alive for one. Our current Manu is, the first Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. Our current Manu is, it's not Swayambhu, I forgot his name. V starts with V. V. Vim, it's not coming to my mind now. Anyway, that's the current Manu at the moment. So one can worship Manu if you want kingdom, because he also has a kingdom of the entire Bhuloka is belonging to Manu. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons, because this is in the mode of ignorance. They want to defeat demons. So therefore, sometimes in India, you can also see Ravana worship. You can see here people who worship the demons, like they worship Ravana, they worship Rahu, they worship Ketu, they worship Naragasura. So there are some people like that. So worship of the demons, this will grant victory. And one who is kama should worship Soma. What is kama? Desiring desires. Kama means extreme sense gratification. If they want to enjoy lots of sense gratification, one is they can worship Indra, but here they are saying here they can also worship Chandra. Chandra is the moon god. So especially those who are very sensuous and they're desiring sensuous things, they can go to the moon. There are different parts of heaven where there is all kinds of sense gratification. So the moon god's kingdom, moon, Chandra, is also very famous for sense gratification. Besides Amravati, besides Indraloka. So they can also go there, they can drink Soma Rasa. There's a very, very special beverage called Soma Rasa, which gives them intoxication in a very ecstatic manner. So someone who's desiring of that, they can worship Chandra. So this is all karma kanda. So Sukadev Goswami has described all the karma kanda desires, those who are having fruitive desires. They can worship all these different devatas. But for one who is akama, that means without desires, or in other words, without material desires, what should he do? He should worship Purusham Param, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. So that is the ultimate benefit, right? So akama means nivrita marga. Nivriti marga means one who has taken up the path of renouncing the senses, renouncing the sense gratification. So that such a person can become akama. So Lord Vishnu is the deity for all these people. Because Lord Vishnu, to worship Lord Vishnu, he not only akama. What about if we are not yet akama? What if we still have sense desires? If I still want to enjoy senses, right? But by my intelligence, I know I shouldn't. By my intelligence, I know there is a higher attainment than simply sense gratification. Then I can still worship Lord Vishnu. And that's the speciality of Lord Vishnu, which will be mentioned in the next verse. So here it says that if somebody has no material desires, he should worship Lord Vishnu, right? But what if somebody has material desires also? What should he do? So if one is more intelligent, if one is not so intelligent, he can worship all the devatas, like how Sukadev Goswami has described. But if one is very intelligent, then here the next verse comes. This is a very important verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, which we can quote many times. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So it says here, whether you are akama, sarva kamo, or moksha kama, whether you are in any of this category, right, what you should do? A person who has broader intelligence, udaradi. So dihi means intelligence. Uddara means broad-minded or very highly intelligent person, right? So if somebody is a highly intelligent person, but he has no desires, or he has all kinds of material desires, sarva kama, all kinds of material desires, which have all been described just now, or he is desiring moksha kama, that means he wants liberation. So whether he has material desires liberation desires or no desires, if he is intelligent, what he should do? He should, with great force, with great intensity, tivrena, the word tivrena is used, he should, with great intensity, what he should do? He should perform bhakti yoga. For who? Worshipping. Yajita means worshipping. Worshipping who? Worshipping the Purusham Param, the ultimate personality, the ultimate enjoyer. Who is that? Lord Vishnu. So, what he should do? He must by all means, Tivrena means by all means, with great intensity, worship the Supreme Whole. Purusham Param means the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. Right? So, Prabhupada says here, so he awards such benedictions to worshippers of the Lord, for they ultimately come to the point of not desiring material enjoyment. So, what happens is, whether you have all kinds of desires, still, if we are intelligent, we should worship the Supreme Lord, not the Devatas. Like just now, Sukadev Goswami mentioned all the different Devatas, but Sukadev Goswami is also mentioning, but if we are intelligent, then we should worship the Supreme Lord. Why? Because not only that all these benedictions come from the Supreme Lord ultimately, right? What the Supreme Lord will do is he will take your welfare into his control. That means he will look after your welfare. He will do only what is good for you. So, in other words, if he thinks that giving whatever we desire is good for us, then he will give us. But if we ask for things which he knows is not good for us, then he will not give us those things. Instead, he will help us to he will give us situations which will help us to lose our material desire for those things. So if, let's say, I desire something and that something is bad for me, ultimately, right? Krishna will not give it to us. Instead, he will make situation in such a way that we will ourselves automatically, we will lose our desire for that. We will develop realization that, oh no, I should not be desiring these things ultimately. So something will happen to us that we will lose this kind of desires. So what will happen? Maybe something not very, it can be something painful also, but Krishna will guide us ultimately. It's for our ultimate benefit, right? Just like how the child sometimes asks the parent, oh, mommy, daddy, I want chocolate for breakfast. I want ice cream for lunch. I want cake for dinner. So then the mother and father will say, no, this is not good for you. So then he may not give. But they may give, but then in such a way that, okay, I'll give you, but automatically the person will lose taste for it. So the Lord is very expert. So he is expert in this. We may not be so expert, right? So in the same way, the parent will help the child to understand that what is ultimately beneficial for him. Even if he doesn't understand, still the parent is always protective of the child, right? He will do what is necessary only. Okay. So that is the thing. Another example is like the finger. So the finger will always work towards the satisfaction of the body. Let's say we have our fingers, our hand, right? So here I'm showing you the picture. We also have our senses. What will happen to us if the senses and the hand and the fingers and our body parts act contrary to what we want? Like we are the body. Let's say we own the body. Okay. So, but our hand and our senses act, it's like as if they are possessed by a different person and they don't cooperate with the body. So let's say I'm hungry and my hand wants to take the food, but my hand suddenly develops its own independence and doesn't want to take the food. And and the same way my senses also develop their own independence and they don't want to cooperate with the body. So what will happen? In the end, the body will suffer. Because the body suffers, who will suffer? The senses only will suffer, the hand only will suffer, the fingers only will suffer. Correct? But if the fingers and the senses and the hand and the limbs all cooperate with the desire of the body, what will happen? The body will benefit, the hand and the fingers and the senses automatically, indirectly will benefit also, isn't it? So that is the understanding of spiritual life. So in spiritual life, we want to not satisfy. Jiva Goswami describes in the Sandarbhas, right? He says, pure devotional service means we don't want to satisfy our desires. We only want to satisfy Krishna's desires, because we are fully understanding the fact that satisfying Krishna's desires is ultimately beneficial for us also. That is the only way to benefit us. So just like if the hand cannot enjoy independently, the hand has to enjoy with the body only. So the jiva cannot enjoy independently. The jiva can only enjoy through the Supreme Lord. So if he cooperates with the Supreme Lord, if he serves the Supreme Lord, then he will enjoy ultimately. So that is the idea. So this is also the understanding of Bhagavad Gita, which is what Arjuna finally realized. Because initially Arjuna wanted to satisfy his mind. He didn't want to fight, but Krishna wanted him to fight. So the entire discussion of Bhagavad Gita was simply to change Arjuna's perspective from serving his own senses and his own mind towards serving Krishna's senses and Krishna's desire. So in this way, he developed perfection. So we have this nice verse in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's also appearing the Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? This verse is one of the verses we should memorize. Sarvapadi Vinirbhuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. So the translation is Bhakti or devotional service. Bhaktir Uchyate. What is Bhakti? Bhakti is called, Uchyate means what is known. What is known as Bhakti, right? That is, it means Sevanam, Sevanam, engaging all our senses. Rishikena. Rishikena means senses, all our senses in the service of Rishikesha. So what is Bhakti? Bhakti is service in which our senses, Rishikena, our senses is used to serve Rishikesha. Who's Rishikesha? Rishikesha is Krishna. He is called master of the senses. Rishikesha means master of the senses. What will happen? When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. What is the two side effect? One is free from all material designation. We become free from material control. We are free from material control and designations, and one realizes the Atma, and one's senses are purified, become spiritually purified. How? Simply by being employed in the service of the Lord. This is the entire message of the Bhagavad Gita. Ultimately, what Krishna says, Man mana bhavo mat bhakto. Think of me, become my devotee. Mat yaji mam namaskuru. Mat yaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru. Offer your obeisances to me. Right? So this is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Ultimately, this is what we want to do. So Sukadev Goswami is mentioning the same thing here. So this is another important verse in the Bhagavatam, right? Akama. So whether we have no desire, whether we have all kinds of material desire, whether we want liberation, right? Doesn't matter, right? Better to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead only. How? Tivrena, with great intensity and concentration, right? So that is what is recommended here for one who is going to die, which is all of us, right? Even one day we will all die. So therefore, this is what is necessary for, this is what human beings, this is the ultimate duty of the human being. So Prabhupada says here, desireless means therefore not to be inert like the stone. Here we have to understand the word akama. Akama doesn't mean we have it means no desire, but it means no material desire. Akama means spiritual desire. What is spiritual desire? Moksha is not spiritual desire. Liberation, you see here, akama is separated from moksha kama. So wanting liberation is not spiritual desire. It's not the same as akama. The same thing was mentioned earlier, right? When Sukadev Goswami said that if somebody wants liberation, they should worship Brahma, right? At that time it says moksha kama. So it is not akama. Desiring liberation is not spiritual desire because it is a form of escapism. It is not meant to serve Krishna. But at the same time, if we desire liberation to serve Krishna, that is all right, right? But that is not pure devotional service also, because there is a what you call condition we are putting. Oh, give me liberation, Krishna, then I will serve you better. No, because the speciality of devotional service is it can be done even before liberation. Even when we are conditioned, we can do devotional service. So we should not be putting conditions on the Lord. We leave the Lord to decide how He wants to treat us, right? But in that sense, we can be completely anxiety free because the Lord will only do what is best for us. So no worries. So in that sense, no worries. Definitely, we will be with the Lord. So Prabhupada says here, desireless means therefore not to be inert like the stone, but to be conscious of one's actual position. Swadharma, what is his original actual relationship with the Lord? So we can be many things. We can be his friends. We can be his, his in conjugal relationship, like the gopis. We can be in santaras, like the plants, the trees, the sky, the clouds. So any kind of relationship, we can be like these parents. So actual position and thus desire satisfaction only from the Supreme Lord. And then comes another very important verse. Sukadev Goswami continues. Etavan eva yajatam iha nishreya sodayaha bhagavati achalo bhavo yat bhagavata sangataha. All the different kinds of worshippers of multi-demigods can attain the highest perfection benediction, which is spontaneous attraction unflinchingly fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because somebody may ask the question, all right, okay, if somebody is intelligent, then they will worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu, right? But what if somebody is also worshipping the demigods? So then they are not intelligent, right? So here the verse says, all the different kinds of worshippers of multi-demigods can also attain the highest perfection. So even the less intelligent people, even those who are worshipping devatas, can attain the highest perfection, which is spontaneous attraction unflinchingly fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even the devatas worshippers, even the devata worshippers can still, there is still hope for them. Even if they are not so intelligent to worship Lord Vishnu directly, but if they worship the devatas, and they can still develop spontaneous attraction and fixed worship to the Supreme Lord, they can still come to the position of worshiping the Supreme Lord if only by the association of the pure devotee of the Lord. So in other words, if they are fortunate to get devotee association, even the devata worshippers, even the unintelligent, they can also come to the platform of worshipping the Supreme Lord. They can also develop attraction to the Supreme Lord. So this is the only way. So somebody may ask, if somebody is worshipping demigods, right, will they also automatically one day attain the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu? If somebody is worshipping demigods, will they automatically attain the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu? The answer is no. It's not automatic. But what will happen is, if somebody is worshipping the devatas, that means they have faith in the Vedic scriptures. They have faith in the Vedic culture. And because they have faith in the Vedic culture, that means it will bring them into association of devotees, because devotees are also faithful of the Vedic culture. They are also following. So somehow or other, in some situation or the other, they may come into contact with devotees. This is the benediction of those who are worshipping devatas. Somehow they will, so it become, that's why it's easy to preach to Hindus, right? Because they understand Vishnu, they understand Vedas, they understand Vedic culture. So therefore we can, that's why devotees, they set up book tables in the temples of the devatas, right? So, there was Navaratri in Shiva temples, we set up book tables, or, when there is a not Navaratri, sorry, Shivaratri. When there's Shivaratri, we set up book tables in Shiva temples. When there's Navaratri, we set up book tables in the Durga temples or the Lakshmi temples. So, like that. So, therefore, in this way, they can somehow get association of devotees. So by the mercy of the devotees, then they can also take to the worship of Lord Vishnu and become eternally benefited. Because by worshipping the devatas, they don't get eternally benefited. It's temporary. So we heard this verse, right, in this nice Bhagavad Gita, verse 925. Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. So if you worship the devatas, you will attain the devatas only. Right? Yanti Devan, Vrata Devan, Pitran Yanti, Pitran Vrata. So if we worship the Devatas, we will attain the Devas, the Devalokas. If we worship the Pitras, we will attain the Pitraloka. Why would somebody worship the Pitras? If they want a good progeny, if they want a good dynasty, family members to propagate, so they worship the Pitras, right? Prosperity for the family. If somebody worships the Bhutas, then they will attain the Bhuta Loka, the planet of the ghosts and the Bhutas. If somebody worships me, then they will attain me, right? So in this way, ultimately, this is the goal. So Prabhupada says, unless the gross materialists or the worshippers of the temporary demigods come in contact with the transcendentalists, like the pure devotee of the Lord, their attempts are simply a waste of energy. So there is no guarantee. So if somebody worships devatas, right, but doesn't come into association of, or doesn't take advantage of the association of the devotees, then they will never get devotional service. They will never get the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. They will never attain bhakti. Because worship of karma kanda devotion, worship of devatas, following the karma kanda path, can only bring you so far only. It can only bring you so far. To the, what is that so far? It can only bring you to the level where they get the association of devotees. That's it. But if they don't serve the devotee, if they don't take the association of the devotee, they don't hear from the devotee, right? If they are not respectful, if they do not serve or they do not take advantage of the devotee, then they can never get bhakti. They can never get the association of the Lord. So this is the only condition. So only a pure devotee of the Lord can show one the right way of progressive life. So this is why preaching is so important. This is why Harinam is so important. This is why Bhagavad Gita, book distribution, Srimad Bhagavatam and all that is so important. So we have to go out into this world and we have to be this association to all the rest of the people. That's why Prabhupada insists on this very much. So therefore, now coming towards the end of today's session, right? This is Sukadev Goswami continues. Transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of Guna Urmi Chakram. So if one somehow takes to the path of devotion, Bhakti Yoga, he develops transcendental knowledge. And it's called transcendental knowledge only if it is in relation to Lord Hari. Because in Bhagavad Gita, it also says that the object of knowledge is the Supreme Lord. Jnaya is the Supreme Lord and he is the object of jnana. So if the knowledge doesn't connect to the Supreme Lord, then it's not called transcendental knowledge, right? So transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of. So if we develop transcendental knowledge, what is the symptom? The symptom is the complete suspension of guna, urmi, chakram. What is this? Guna means the material nature, the three modes of material nature. Urmi means, which is the waves of material nature. So complete suspension of the waves of material nature, and the chakram means the whirlpool. You know, in the ocean there is whirlpool. There are dangers. There is the danger of the waves, the urmi, and there is the danger of the whirlpool. So the waves and the whirlpool of material nature cannot affect us, cannot affect one who is taken up the path of devotional service. Because by taking the path of devotional service, he is hearing and he is chanting. So by hearing and chanting, he has developed transcendental knowledge, which acts like a boat. You know, Bhagavad Gita, it says, Jnana Plavinaiva in chapter 4, right? So it acts like a boat. So therefore, the waves of material nature and the whirlpool of material nature cannot affect the devotee situated in that boat. So the same point is mentioned here by Sukadev Goswami. Such knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, is Atma Prasadaha. It's satisfying to the soul. Atma Prasada means satisfying to the soul. Due to its being Guneshu Asanga, due to it being free or transcendent from the three modes. Again, the word guneshu means the material modes of nature. Asanga, that means free. It doesn't mix with the three modes of material nature. It's, in other words, it is transcendental. So therefore, it is called kaivalya. It is pure, transcendental, and the only means of attracting Krishna. So that's why it's called Kaivalya. It's the only way to attain Krishna. Mm. It is therefore approved by the authorities. Authorities, all the great personalities. Narada, Sukadeva Goswami, Devala Muni. So all the different personalities like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Lakshmi Devi, they have all approved this. And so who would fail to be attracted, Ratim, to Bhakti Yoga and absorbed Avrita by Hari Kathasu? So who will be fail to be attracted to Bhakti Yoga and to be absorbed, Nivrita, absorbed in Hari Katha? Hari Katha is like what we are trying to do, right? So Hari Katha is speaking about the Lord, speaking from Srimad Bhagavatam, speaking from Bhagavad Gita, right? So from Ramayana, Mahabharata, like that. But these are all Hari Katha, right? But particularly from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So this is, who will not be attracted to this, right? If they can be absorbed. So therefore, Sukadev Goswami is telling, this is the essence. This is the essence of what you should do if you are about to die. Or for all humanity, everybody who is mortal in this material world, who has taken birth and who will one day die, they should all be doing this. So this is the point that we want to mention today. So all right, so today we will stop here. Sukadev Goswami ends with this very nice statement. So we will try to digest it by chanting Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Hare
Thank you,
Krishna, are
Prabhu.
there any questions? Anything you'd like to clarify? If there's nothing, right? So anyway, if you have any thoughts, if there's anything you want to ask further understanding, no worries. Just send me a message, voice message also can, anything, Tamil, English, fine, can understand. I'm happy to respond, happy to help you to understand whatever as far as I can understand. If anything I can't answer, then I will ask somebody, right? So take advantage if it's possible. Mm. So if there's nothing, right, we can end over here. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.